YouTube! Thanks for checking out another Film Geek movie spotlight. Now, some of my regular viewers might be wondering, where is my beer? Well, the reason I don't have a beer is quite simple. It is 5 o'clock in the morning right now. I'm actually having to film early in the morning right now because Charming Amy and I are going to take ourselves a little bit of a 3-day vacation. We're going to go down to Branson, Missouri to the opening days of Silver Dollar City, and guess what? I'm going to take you guys along with us. I'm going to do some filming down there, and we're also going to hit some local antique malls and some other areas to see what cool little finds we might find while we're in Branson on our little getaway. Alright, so anyways, now, as I was saying, it is very early here in the morning, so instead of the brewski, I've got my cup of Joe in my my Grumpy Times coffee mug right here. So let's get on with it. All right, shall we? Shall we move on? Today I'm talking about the 1985 film Real Genius.
I was here for a second this morning.
You didn't straighten up the place, did you?
No.
Good, because all my filth is in alphabetical order. This, for example, was under H for toy.
What is it?
This? It's a penis stretcher. You want to try it?
No.
I'm kidding. It's yet another in a long series of diversions in an attempt to avoid responsibility.
Real Genius is directed by Martha Coolidge, and it's starring Val Kilmer and Gabriel Jarrett. A high school prodigy is accepted into a prestigious engineering college, and he gets to work underneath his idol, Christopher Knight, a fellow prodigy. To prepare for Real Genius, director Martha Coolidge spent months researching laser technology, the policies of the CIA, and interviewed dozens of students at Caltech. Producer Brian Gazer has said in interviews that when Val Kilmer auditioned for the role of Chris Knight, he brought candy bars and performed sleight-of-hand magic tricks. However, Val Kilmer remembers it a bit differently and has said in interviews, "The character wasn't polite, so when I shook Grazer's hand and he said, 'Hi, I'm the producer,' I said, 'I'm sorry, you look like a 12-year-old. I like to work with men.'" Real Genius was released August 7th, 1985, and it grossed just a little over $12 million on an $8 million budget. So the movie made a little bit of cash, but not as much as the studio would have liked. So it wasn't necessarily a massive financial flop, but it was far from a financial success. However, the critics did enjoy the film, and it's currently sitting at the tomatoes that aren't so rotten at a 75%. So what do I like about this movie? Well, first I want to talk about Val Kilmer, because he does an outstanding job in this film and is one of the major reasons to see this movie. He takes a character that could come off as extremely obnoxious and unlikable, but because he plays him so charismatically, you absolutely fall in love with Christopher Knight. This film also has several laugh-out-loud moments. I mean, it is a college comedy at its core, but what sets it aside from all of its other college comedies like Animal House and Sorts is the heroes of our film. I feel like they're a lot more likable, and you really root for these guys to succeed. So I think that's what really sets this film aside, and I would also say the authenticity of this film. And you're kind of probably sitting at home right now wondering what in God's green earth I mean about the authenticity of a goofball college film. Well, that's because it takes place at a very prestigious engineering college. And as luck would have it, I had a good friend of mine who went to one of those colleges, and I would go visit him sometimes for special events, parties, or what have you. And let me tell you, those guys, when they're not like filling their heads with more knowledge than any human being could possibly imagine, they party hard. And this movie is just the same way. So yeah, that's what I mean about the authenticity of this film. She did do the research and pretty well nailed it. I mean, when these folks start to unwind, let's just say they unwind. Now don't worry, this film still has plenty of the college shenanigans that come with one of these college films. Everybody's playing practical jokes on everyone else, the heroes, the villains, blah blah blah. But the difference is, these are a bunch of next level engineering students. So the practical jokes in this movie are pretty freaking over the top, but at the same time you go, oh, could that work? So at the end of the day, Real Genius is just an all-around fun adult R-rated comedy that maybe will remind you of some of your youthful college shenanigans that you got yourself into. So if you want to check this movie out, well, good news, it's streaming out there for members on Hulu, and if you don't have Hulu, well, you can still rent it. It's on YouTube, Google, and Amazon Prime. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of another Film Geek video. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's another thing you could do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.